Good evening, good evening. I'm just in the middle of doing this. If I don't do it, yes. Okay. Hi everybody, good evening. Welcome. Today this evening we're doing another Lunchbox Live, this time with Aoife from Parent Support. So Aoife's going to talk about a little bit more. I know we've done lots of Lunchbox stuff, but Aoife's going to talk a little bit more about kind of anxiety, going back to school, for the child and for the parents, for you guys as well, for us guys as well. I frankly have no anxiety about my kids going back to school. I'm very happy for them to be going back. But I suppose I have somebody gone into secondary school. So, here she is now. So there's that. So we'll discuss all that. And if there's any questions for Aoife, please feel free. You know what to do. Pop them in the messages. Hi.
Thing superstar telly woman.
Oh sure, stop the lights. Sure, look at. I'm only trailing behind you.
You played a blinder. You're as natural. You were made for the telly.
Oh, stop it. Well, I don't know about that. We'll see if they have me back. Then we'll know.
Yeah. No, it was great. You did really well and very natural. It's nice to have a bit of a distraction up. Obviously, you were cooking.
Yeah.
But sitting at the breakfast table, my own breakfast table, watching you on Sunday, and it was lovely now. And you know Simon, don't you? Or from before, or would you?
No, I never met him before.
Okay.
Just that morning, but we know each other a little bit through social media, and because he's a chef, and we have a lot of people in common. So I was at an event in Donegal on Saturday, and the Brian McDermott, who's a chef in Donegal, was like, Asher, look, tell Simon hello. They know each other really well. So yeah.
No, it's and no one better to put you at ease.
Oh my God, I shouldn't really say this, but he did very much put me at my ease, and he said, look, don't worry. He said, we'll eat whatever you make.
Oh, thanks.
So that was good. Anyway, luckily, so it went really well. So hopefully I'll be back on again, which would be great.
Yeah.
You've done that, haven't you?
Yeah. So it was on last Friday, and just talking about the kids and the usual stuff. So yeah, it's a great little gig to have, and I think once the foot's in the door for anyone that's listening on that maybe it's a small business, it is one of those things. Often it's the timing and you know, the right time, the right place, and
yeah.
You know, so they can be tricky to come by, but like that, once they have you in their little black book, it is helpful, you know. And sometimes it means getting in touch with them and saying, look, I have an idea, and that's kind of can be helpful as well, rather than you waiting to be called or contacted.
And I suppose especially for you around this time of year is very topical.
Yeah. Do you know what? When I look back, because I've been doing it, I was pregnant with Jamie. He's now just turning 5. So I was pregnant with Jamie when I kind of did my first proper slot. Yeah. And, you know, I suppose, as you know, with parenting, like there's always something coming up. And, you know, I've been on talking about head lice, and I've been talking about traveling with the kids and social media and working families and all of that, toileting. So I leave the sleep to the sleep experts.
Yeah, I'm around.
You know, so I suppose I'm quite lucky in a way that it's quite versatile in what I can talk about and that.
It's very broad. Well, I mean, parenting, like everything we do in life as parents is an issue, really, isn't it? And everything our kids do is an issue, and that we run into problems all the time. Somebody's just a lovely message. Well done, Aoife. Great to see you doing so well.
Oh, thank you. Do you know what did you find it was a bit of a buzzy feel when you came off?
Or literally, I didn't want to leave. I was like, I could sit for ages afterwards. I'm like,
I could just sit here and listen and join in if you want me to. There's a real adrenaline buzz, I think, when you know, some people love it and some people are like, no, happily now we'll watch on. But like you,
when I was there, so the way the studio is, so you would be on the couch, which is over in one corner, and the kitchen is just here. And the fastest man in Ireland, Israel, came on after me.
Oh yeah, I saw him. Yeah.
Yeah, he was brilliant. So I couldn't really pack up my stuff because I didn't want to make any noise. There's about 30 seconds, and then the fashion came on. So I actually was there in the studio for all of that, watching it.
You were hanging on.
Trying to gently put stuff into my box, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah. It's a great experience, and like that, you just like with food, there's always something going on. So yeah, it's
I'm hoping I'll be on again. So yeah, who knows? But anyway, let's talk about back to school. Which one are blue in the face talking about?
They people are just like, number one, will Aoife ever shut up about being back to school? But the reality is, I think sometimes we underestimate how it can be fairly straightforward for many. And then for a lot, for both for the families in general, as a family unit, but also for the kids, regardless, because obviously for lots of families there's different ages and stages, and they all deal with it very differently. So for some families it can be a real difficult time of the year, and then you might have lots, maybe some families, some parents or carers that are maybe returning to work, and they're quite nervous about the dynamics of how it's all going to go. And then obviously you've got the kids that maybe are feeling a bit anxious, and like that, our third lad has just, he's our final child to start primary school, and he seems to be taking it in a stride. But
he started, has he?
He just started, yeah. Whereas our eldest has gone into just second year in secondary school. So I've got 3 very different ages at the moment, and they all like yourself, Deirdre. You've a gang as well at different ages.
Yeah.
I don't know for you, but I know on my end, they all have different ways of dealing with things. So, and I think that often impacts then how we react and how we support them. And, so some will just sail through, and then others, it's like, oh God, the kind of Sunday night blues feel.
Yeah. And I think it depends, for us this year, it depends on what stage, like you were saying, it depends what stage your kids are at. So like you have somebody starting primary school, I think there's a lot of kind of anxiety around that for the child and for the parent. And then Maggie started secondary school, so there's a lot of kind of angst around that, more so than, in previous years where she would have known what to expect and going into a comfortable class at people she knows and all that.
Yeah. Do you know what? Is that your second that's gone into secondary school?
Yeah.
It was a boy first, wasn't it?
Mm.
Yeah. I think anyway, the first year can be a funny one, and it's such a big transition. Like it's a huge, and there's so much they have to just absorb and learn from the teachers, the subjects, the organisation, the responsibility that goes with that. So is she with many friends from school?
Not really. There are people in the school that she knows. There's loads of people in the school she knows. Not any particular friends. So her little friendship group all went to different schools. But she the poor chicken, she burst into our bedroom at 10 to 6 this morning. Come on, we're going to be late.
10 to 6, like 5:50.
Yeah.
Oh God, love her. Oh, you just have to sleep.
She'd been up since 4:50, so she had looked at the time in the minutes, but she hadn't looked at the hour. So she obviously has a little bit of anxiety there that she was waking up at that time, and set her alarm for that time. But she just obviously woke up and she saw that it was something 50, and she thought it was time to get up.
Yeah.
She shower. She was dressed. She her lunch made.
Do you know? Like, yeah, it's likely that just her head is spinning and her mind is spinning, and I don't know, it's something that I've been recommending to different families, both for the adults as well as, I don't know whether you've ever tried meditation, but something for her just to kind of calm the mind down a little bit and the whole nervous system, that it will be something you'll have a laugh about as she graduates and is, you know, finishes up for leaving cert. Do you remember the first day or the first few days in Europe? But yes, a little bit of meditation might be nice for her, just to wind them down a little bit.
Yeah, I must say we have done meditation in the past, and I would do a little bit of meditation. That's a good idea actually. I must say that to her now. What she do? She does it like sometimes through the Alexa. I think there's meditation through that.
There's I know, even just through who I've asked kind of followers on my own page, what they found helpful. Brezi's mindful minds, I think it is.
Yeah.
Then there's a lovely one, Insight Timer. It's an app on the phone, and
What's it called? The Inside Timer.
Insight Timer app. I think it would be, you know, it's good for adults because you and older kids and teenagers, but it's you know, you could literally put in anything from, it really encourages sleep and anxiety, and you can have kind of winding down from the day. It's a really lovely app. So for anyone that's listening on that might be feeling a bit stressed themselves as the adults,
Okay.
A lovely one. I myself, my husband went to see Dermot Whelan in the what you call it, over in DC. Helix.
Yeah.
Is
Mindfulness, was it?
Yeah, and that was back in March, and it was our first show that we went to post-COVID, kind of, where we were out, and it was a real kind of reset the button, thinking, do you know what, going to give this meditation malarkey a go again, because he spoke a lot about stress and how stress can be actually okay, because like your daughter, sometimes it just keeps us on our toes. Like it's on all 10 toes this morning, but it keeps us quite alert and can often get us through the more challenging times, again, for the kids and for the adults. But you spoke about that, and but the importance to kind of give our bodies that opportunity just to stop. So yeah, just it's an idea, but he recommended the Insight Timer app, and been using it ever since, and it's really lovely.
I must look at that up. She hasn't got a phone.
Okay.
So
no harm.
Absolutely. So yeah, we're holding off.
A tablet, or even you could put it on your phone for her.
Yeah. No. Look, she has an iPad, you know. We're not miracle workers by any means, but like, she does have a device. But yeah. So for people then going with kids in just starting primary school this week, then Aoife, like yourself, any tips and tricks for them around anxiety or
separation, and maybe a little bit of the wobbles and the worries? Yeah, because we were chatting about this on Dermot and Dave just on Monday gone, and we were chatting about just the whole separation piece. But it's not just about our junior infants, senior infants. It can be for older kids as well. But you know, and even at that, you might have a child that's coping quite well the first few days, and then day 4, day 5 into the second week, it's like, oh God, yeah, this is kind of it now, and you know, right, you know, there's no going back. So families, they think they're over the hump when it can all kind of regress a little bit, but that's very normal. So it's important that we kind of give our kids that chance to process the emotions and avoid that. You be grand, don't be worrying what's wrong with you. And I kind of talk a lot about validating the emotions and kind of letting them know, look, you're okay. We're here. And often kids, and again, don't know if you find this with your own kids, but they can often start chatting to us at night time and moments when we're in the car, because I believe, and I am one of them, where you start asking a lot of the questions, you know, how was your day, how'd you get on, how are you feeling? And it's just question overload. So take a step back on as much as we want to know it all. Just give them a chance, because often kind of a lot of those questions and just them not coming up with answers, underneath all that, there might be that little bit of anxiety. So sometimes those kind of questions can really feed into that. So
we're looking for them to perform again, like they've been performing in school all day.
Yeah.
They get into the car and we're asking them to perform again by answering all these questions. So I don't know the right analogy to use at all, but putting the pressure on them again and again.
Yeah, one nice kind of question, particularly for our smaller kids, is, what was your favorite part of the day? Now, they might say, don't know.
Yeah.
All right, share your own favorite part of the day. Quite general, rather than a specific, I need to know the answer to X and Y.
Yeah.
And, again, and like that, I'm sure even with your, making your lunches and your different meal times, it involves an element of routine. So and again, going to be, banging on about routine, but it does create that predictability and consistency, and kids really cope with that, and they like to know a plan, and it just helps with children because often anxiety and stress builds because they don't know what to expect, or they're concerned about kind of what's going to happen, and that feeds into all that. So if we can make their life as predictable as possible, which isn't going to be, we're not miracle workers, we're not going to be able to do everything, but just what we can influence, encourage the same. Even when the chat's going in the mornings, chat about who they're going to see, what they're going to do. And one thing, and one resource, and I featured it on the show last Friday morning, was the affirmation cards.
Oh yeah.
I'm always talking about them, and they're a great way which are available on your shop.
Yeah. I'll just here actually show people what Aoife's talking about. Don't mind me on the camera. It's these kiddies affirmation cards.
Yeah.
And they're lovely to pop one in the lunchbox. Is that what you do with yours, or how do you use yours? I know you use them in work as well.
I have them here, a few of them. I always have a few. I'm courageous, I'm calm, cool and calm, I am enough, I'm calm and peaceful. There you go.
I'm safe and protected.
Yeah. Lovely, lovely way to move the mindset from I can't, I'm not able, I won't be, that's too hard. I won't be able to go into school today. This is just too difficult. All of those, the more our kids and the more we say those lines repeatedly, the more we start building those self-limiting beliefs. So positive affirmation cards gives the kids an opportunity to turn them around. And same with ourselves. It's I find if I'm, even before I present, I give myself a few positive affirmations just to kind of get into the headspace and you know what, I am okay at this, and I am calm, and I'm relaxed, and I can deliver, and I can. Yeah. I could be in the car going from A to B. I could be sitting here ready to sit in front of it. It's so funny because we can work ourselves up so much, as can the kids, that we kind of forget, and we forget to be present. And that's where the whole mindfulness, or the meditation thing comes into it. It's about being present in the moment as opposed to worrying about the what ifs all the time.
Yeah. Have you ever come across Gary Vee?
No.
He's this guy. He's this American guy. He's made multi millions, but he's also a motivational speaker.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just listening to something he was talking about yesterday, and he said, we need an hour of positivity in our heads every day.
Yeah.
He said, if you start listening to positive things all the time, so I suppose positive podcasts and positive affirmations or whatever, it helps to change your mindset. So that's what that just reminded me of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And what is he? He is a kind of motivational speaker, is he?
Yeah, he's brilliant. Like, he's very he's not like your normal positive or kind of motivational speaker. He's very, like, he dresses in jeans and a t-shirt. He's very low key, but he talks a lot of sense. I like him. Gary Vee is his name, Gayvee. But his main thing is he talks a lot about how to grow a business and all that kind of stuff. So talks all about being real and, giving back and all that kind of stuff. He's good. I like him.
Yeah.
Won't be everybody's cup of tea at all. But I do like him.
Yeah. I have to keep an eye out for him now.
Yeah, keep an eye out for him.
Yeah.
So the positive affirmations, that's lovely. And like, you can use the affirmation cards in lots of different ways. If your child can't read, you could read it to them as they're going to school, or
like that in the school bag. I'd often encourage parents, like, have some handful of them in the car, in your bag, on the counter, kitchens. It's just something to grab. And even if the kids, if it's something that they're not familiar with, or maybe they're just kind of getting their heads around, or something new you've introduced, it's like anything when it comes to making a change or introducing a change or something different. The kids may resist. They might be like, it's not my cup of tea. But don't let that discourage you from going back again. And it's the same when we introduce boundaries and different rules, different decisions made at home. Yes, the kids are going to resist, or they're going to push back, because like the kids don't like change. As humans, we don't like change, and often we'll avoid it and do something to, to not change.
Take the easy way out.
So just like anything, persist and kind of persevere with it and see how it goes.
And so tell me, how are the lunches in your house? Can we talk about lunchboxes for 2 minutes?
Lunchbox. Yeah, absolutely. They're
in second year now. Does he make his own lunch, or how is he?
He does, yeah. He like, surprisingly so. And it wasn't something that we had agreed on and said, look, this is going to be the plan.
Yeah.
He's blown me away with his of how organized he is in some ways. And so he likes to be on time, and he likes to be leaving the house way earlier now than we would. But
yeah. Great.
Regarding lunches, I know I feel like I'm lucky, and I feel like I'm probably our youngest lad's going to be trailing behind, and we're going to be pulling him out the door. But anyway, Charlie, he makes his own sandwiches. He's actually loves his food. So, but it was interesting. Actually, someone I know who's a secondary school teacher had said to me that sometimes with the boys, they're less inclined to want to eat in front of their friends, and they're less inclined to kind of bring any kind of a different lunch into school. So I probably would have observed that a little bit with him last year.
God,
have you heard that before? Is that something you're familiar with?
I had that in primary school. I would have had incidences where people would have made fun of what one of my kids had in their lunchbox.
Yeah.
And it would have come home, and there would have been, not on the day, but like say 2 or 3 weeks later, there would have been tantrums about it.
Yeah.
My eldest, who's going into transition year, he would have not taken in a lunch at all. I don't think any breakfast, any lunch. And then I think out of pure laziness.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So not out of that reason. I haven't heard that before now.
Yeah, that was just an observation from a secondary school teacher. She just said that she found that was what she had observed. But no, he's very good and likes a bit of fruit and his dairy and his carbs and all of that. Wouldn't be interested at this point bringing in the hot flasks of dinner, or like the hot portions of food. But I'm quite happy with him. And then maybe on a Friday he'll get something in the canteen. He'll bring a fiver in, and he'll get something in his canteen. Katie, who's turning 11 now, she it actually got to a point. This is how non-perfect like my house is, right? Because sometimes on Instagram I might show a lunchbox, and it might be just like on a day where I'm thinking, right, showing a bit of variety and maybe something new, because people like looking at new, as I'm sure new ideas, etc. But it was getting to a point for Katie and I that I would pack her lunch, and she would just start taking stuff out and putting stuff in that she liked, albeit that it was in the same kind of food category of fruit and dairy and carbs. I kind of said, without getting into an argument with her, I said, do you know what? I'm happy for you to organise your own lunch as long as you've got X, Y, and Z in it. Knock yourself out. Yeah. And kind of how that evolved. Jamie, on the other hand, has always been he's been a bit of a fuss pot out of the 3 kids, and but I don't know whether it's a novelty, but like we're discussing food options. I think that's important.
Yeah.
Like, what do you fancy for tomorrow? And he's telling me, and I'm kind of conscious about making sure he's got something in the lunchbox that he actually likes, and I know he'll eat. And it was interesting. I know whether again you found this even with your own kind of clients, but some parents have kind of asked me about, well, maybe in school they don't have enough time to eat, and they come home with the lunch, kind of what do you do? I often kind of offer up what's in the lunchbox already.
Of course.
Again,
Yeah.
in fairness to Jamie, he's got 2 loans at the moment, and sorry, only 1 at the moment because he's in shorter days, and he's still kind of eating his lunch. So I'm actually quite surprised.
Yeah,
Back, but you know, it could be just a novelty, so I'm just kind of going with it for now. What have you found helpful now in your with your new your new book? What
yeah.
seems to be grabbing people's attention as a nice popular food lunch choice?
Yeah. Well, as you may or may not know, but I'm encouraging everybody to make their school lunches.
Yes.
All the kids. I mean,
There.
huh?
2. I'm ticking the box there.
You're there. Yeah. You're on my team, Aoife. So what I do say to people is that, like, the lunchbox is not the place to start putting new foods in.
Mm-hmm.
As a child needs to get used to a new food, and they're not going to do that in school. It has to be done at home. But the recipe that I made on Ireland AM on Sunday is actually really tasty, and it's really easy. So you just get some chicken breasts. So I would do, like I did that tonight while I was making the dinner. I just boiled up a couple of chicken breasts. And if you boil them, well, it's actually poaching them. It's not boiling them as such. You poach them.
Yeah.
Have you ever poached chicken before? I'm sure you have.
No, I haven't. I've slow cooked a chicken and I've done everything else, but bar poach.
Yeah.
So what that add into boiling hot water for how long now? For like an average?
No, don't put it. You put it into cold water and then you bring it to boil.
Okay.
Into boiling hot water, the mussel seizes and it makes it very tough.
Yeah.
So then the cold water, bring it to the boil and then turn it down and let it simmer until it's cooked. And the chicken is very soft and moist. So it's perfect for sandwiches, because a roast chicken, like I love roast chicken, but it can be dry.
Yes.
Yeah. In sandwiches.
Yeah.
At home you'd have it with maybe gravy and stuff, but obviously you wouldn't be having that in the lunchbox. Well,
yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
So if you poach the chicken breasts and then cut them up, and then chop up some grapes and some rocket. Well, you saw me making it on the TV. And then in with the mayonnaise and a little bit of curry powder, the all-important curry powder.
Yeah.
It is really tasty.
What curry powder did you use? Was it like a mild or?
Mild, yeah. But obviously, I mean, whatever your child is happy to take. But I just use mild. It's just that flavour of it. It adds, and then the grapes make it nice and juicy. And add a bit of sweetness, so it's really, really nice.
Yeah.
That's our go-to at the moment. And tuna. Charlie loves tuna.
Mayo and a bit of sweet corn. Or actually, my lad is allowed to have sweet corn in school because it's an allergic food. So I know Katie would have tuna and sweet corn, and she'd love that, but she can't. She's not. She loves the sweet corn in it, but she can't have it in school. So.
Well, I'm about to do a post about tuna and about all the things you can put in. So you can put like celery. Like if you go to America, it's tuna and celery that you get. It's not tuna and sweet corn.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so
I'm learning all kinds of things tonight too.
So it's the same mix tuna, but it's with chopped up celery, and the celery is I'm not a mad celery fan actually. But because it's only chopped up quite fine, so you don't really taste it, but it's lovely and crunchy.
Yeah.
Because the tuna is very soft.
Yeah.
So it gives a bit of crunch. And I'd also put in cucumber. You could put in bits of pepper, like chopped up, very finely chopped pepper, very finely chopped red onion. That's another thing that put in America a lot is red onion. So if you're not able to do the sweet corn.
Yes, actually, because sweet or red pepper would obviously red and yellow and orange pepper are really quite sweet. So good alternative sweet corn.
Yeah, and you just chop it very fine because you don't want a massive big piece of red pepper. And also, like you do with the chicken, is you chop up the rocket quite fine and pop it in there as well. And the thing about that, and it's not about hiding food on kids. I'm not a fan at all, but it's about. They don't actually taste it, so they do accept it. And if it's more acceptable for them. Hiding it, like they can still see it, but if they accept it in that, then they might accept it in other things as well. So yeah, that chicken is a real winner in our house, and then the tuna is a real big winner. They do sometimes take ham and cheese,
Mm,
the,
mm.
the ubiquitous ham and cheese is everywhere. Cheese and hummus is a nice mix.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, a little bit hummus like spread on the bread, and then grated cheese, and then if your child will take lettuce, then a little bit of lettuce on the top.
Yeah.
Mine will take lettuce now. For years and years and years, I gave them lettuce. For years and years and years, they took it out. But
Okay.
I think because they're just so used to it, they will actually eat lettuce in a sandwich.
Yeah. Same. Yeah, same as my older two. Jamie, like not physically allergic to it, but is anti-veg. But you shared a couple of tips on the eating thing on the show the other day, and one of them, which when you talk about parent provides, child decides, and
Yeah,
I'm a big believer, and I've shared it kind of on my stories as well over the years. But because Jamie would be the bit of the fuss pot of the family, um, like tonight now, what do we have for dinner? I did a shepherd's pie. Now, not necessarily for an August evening, but it was mince out
a bit of
freeze,
a chill in the air though, Aoife. There was a bit of a chill in the air this evening now.
chill in the air. They were like, "Oh, this is kind of like a winter dinner," but anyway, but your man would only have the spud, a bit of lamb, like I'm talking 2 tablespoons,
Yeah,
um, of food, and then I chopped up a load of melon, and the whole lot of us ate it, including your man, and it just didn't make a big deal. So I know for him that works for him is I sorry, I know we've veered off lunches, but at the same time it's offering up always offering up something that the child will like in the mealtime, whether it be the lunchbox or
yeah,
the dinner.
yeah, yeah.
Or,
And that whole thing about offering like fruits and vegetables on the table, like I think I do that all the time, and it always gets eaten. And sometimes throughout the day, like actually, it's better now that they're back to school because there's a bit more routine, as you're saying.
yeah, there is, yeah.
So you are more conscious of them putting their fruit into their lunch boxes, or
Hmm.
it's just like a bit of well, in my house it is a little bit of a free for all
Yeah.
during the day, and then obviously I'll make a dinner or whatever. But so I don't know if they're eating much fruit or
Yeah.
not. Where
Hmm.
that's why I always put it on the table, and I always put the chopped up veggies on the table because they'll eat them. And
Yeah.
when we're finished for dinner, they'll just be sitting there, we'll be chatting, and they'll
Hmm.
snacking on the vegetables. Uh,
Yeah.
Fruit and whatever's on the table. So yeah, it's a great little habit to get into.
And I don't know whether like maybe there are days and whether it's like this in your house, but my gang loves kind of this whole self-serving thing. So even their pieces of cheese and slices of salami, they like the portion stuff. And even though they're that bit older, they still like that kind of selection on the table. And some days I mightn't have a whole lot, and I just kind of throw whatever I have,
Yeah, yeah,
within reason, obviously, but between meats, cheeses, and fruits, and all the crackers and all that kind of stuff, and then you can kind of reflect that into the lunchbox as well.
yeah.
I sometimes give Jamie some like hot dogs in a wrap, or like that. He loves kind of slices of salami and or like that. Then the melon balls, he loves the melon balls, that kind of thing. So making it a little bit like tiny little thing to pop in his mouth as opposed to this big whatever it is, that's what I have found helpful anyway.
Interesting, interesting. Is he the youngest one? He's
Yeah.
the
Oh yeah, the youngest. Mm.
junior.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so like what you're saying about having, the parent provides. So when I talk about children making their own school lunches, I don't mean them going to the press and getting a pack of potato and smashing it between two
Yeah.
and bread. Like that is obviously not what we want.
No.
Um,
Nice with an odd little
yeah,
side crisps,
yeah,
okay, but
yeah.
not for every day. Yeah.
School lunchbox, but it's about that. And like one thing that I would have always, now not so much now my kids are older, but I would always have made up, say on a Sunday night, I would have made up a chicken mix for them. I would have made up a tuna and sweet corn, or a tuna and whatever, and have that ready in the fridge. And then they would make it up themselves then from that. But I would have the sandwich fillers there ready to. So that's what I would always, so I'm providing that because that's what I want them to have.
Yes.
And then they'll decide,
Yeah.
well, they do have to have it because there's nothing else there.
Parent provides what only is there, and that's what you're having.
Yeah. But there's
No.
always, there'd always be cheese there or whatever.
Yeah.
Soup actually is a big, my daughter loves soup.
Yeah.
But I don't know if your kids would take that in school now.
Um, they wouldn't necessarily take soup, but they love like a smoothie. Like for they'd make a smoothie in the morning, and or like that maybe a pasta dish, or like I was saying there, Charlie wouldn't necessarily bring in a hot meal, whereas he would have in primary school. Again, don't know whether it's just been more conscious and more aware.
I think it would be the other way around. As they get older, they become a bit more confident.
Well, I say as because I found last year it was the same thing in his lunchbox every single day. It's like, you can change this up because it wasn't like him. So I just think it was kind of like safe, and I didn't want to be paying too much attention to it. But I've noticed now, like he's an absolute savage now. He loves his grub, and yeah, I can definitely see, he's bringing in more and that. So maybe he stopped, he's not caring as much about what others think.
Yeah, well, that might have been a little anxiety that he had in first
Yeah,
year around, and that whole thing about like who are they sitting with, where are they sitting, have they,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
that's all. There's a lot on there at lunchtime. In at least you don't have that in primary school. Like there's other stuff going on in primary school, but in secondary school it's a whole other.
Yeah, because then you're thinking about who you're going to be with and where you're eating lunch. It's just all very different.
Yeah. Yeah. Would you want to be back in secondary school now? Would
you?
No.
No. Would I want to know?
You do feel a bit sorry for them, don't you?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's. But look, it brings so much independence as well, and I think it's a real mixed bag of a time in their life. And even when I talk about teenagers, in my different talks that I do, like it's for all families that go through the preteen and teenage years, it's tough for them, and they're funny old years because they're just trying to get their heads around fitting in with friends and job, and they don't want to be missing out, and they want to be part of the conversation. And then technology, God, you could talk about that all day, but technology has its own faults and obviously its own benefits, but it sometimes doesn't help the situation when trying to kind of form friendships and all of that and communicate and all that.
No, technology, I don't know, I think in years to come we will realize that they shouldn't have technology at this age, phones in particular.
Yeah.
At this age. They're just too young for them to deal with them, That's the way.
That's a whole other conversation.
Whole other conversation, absolutely. It is a whole other conversation. Okay, does anybody have any questions for the lovely Aoife? So if your child's starting school, or not even starting school, but if they're, back in school, or you're anxious about anything, they're anxious about anything, you have anything about lunch boxes or whatever, feel free to pop a question up in the chat. Aoife is available over on Parent Support, and she is a regular contributor to the Dermot and Dave show. Did they give you a lap blanket yet, did they?
No, I was a bit disgusted actually, although I believe, I don't know whether they had launched them by the time I was on the show. So I do think I keep on that show, and I feel like I could easily go with having a lap blanket. I may request one myself. Although I have to say, Dave gave me one of these hoppers. What you call them? With the ear, space hoppers.
Oh my God.
Would Jamie have that? And I know, yeah. Now I'm totally like regretting it because he says I'm not going to be responsible for injuries. Honestly, using it as a space hopper in the house, it's just been bounced from wall to wall, and it's doing my head in. So that's what I got, in fairness, when I was
yeah. The next time you're in exchange, bring it in and you can say, I'll exchange this for a lap blanket, please.
Yeah.
There's a question in there about what age would you expect children to make their own lunches from? I know what my answer is, but have you any?
Well, now, okay, so different situations in my house is that with Jamie, I'm kind of now chatting to him, whereas I probably wouldn't have last year when he was in Nina at preschool.
Yeah.
Junior infants, I'm kind of talking to him about, look, what we put in. These are the kind of options. What would you like? Again, very conscious, early days. We're all very organised at the moment, whereas next week could be a different story. And then obviously with Katie, she's turning 11 now, so she's probably been making her own lunch. And Charlie started making his lunch in primary school as well, around 8. But
Yeah.
what would be am I way off on that?
No. And my experience, I actually got my kids to make their own lunches because I actually didn't want to make them anymore.
Yeah.
So that was my primary. That was before I even started business. So, so my Charlie has been making his since he was 6.
Brilliant.
So he was in senior infants. Yeah. So but I think even in junior infants, so Jamie, I mean, you can get them involved. It's about getting them involved, and it's about getting them, like, okay, they may not be able to make everything themselves. But I work with kids that are age 3. Like, I work with preschoolers all the time, age 3 and 4, and they can do a lot.
Yeah, they love kind of being part of it, don't they?
They absolutely do. And getting them involved and getting them smelling and feeling and picking and saying, which of these apples do you want? Do you want the red one or do you want the green one? Do you know, it's simple things like that. Oh, you know, you had the red one yesterday. Why don't you try the green one today? Will the green one taste different? Do you know, all that kind of stuff. So I would say from junior infants to get them involved, and then getting them, from junior infants upwards. That's what I would be saying.
Yeah.
And again, it's like we were talking about, is we provide. So you, like, if your child is younger, like in that junior infants, senior infants, what you could do is you could put everything for the lunch out on the counter or out on the table and just let them assemble it.
Yeah. Great idea.
Yeah. So, you know, they are involved and they are making their lunch, but you've given them what's to go in their lunchbox, if you know what I mean, more or less.
Yeah.
So, go on.
That's a great idea. No, that's a great idea. I think I'm one step away from that, and you know what? I think as much as we give out about lunches, there's that control thing where letting, like you, I was like, I'm actually over making lunches now. And I knew the kids were well able.
Yeah.
Whereas with Jamie, I'm, he's starting to express himself about it. So I think I just need to do that. And that is, have all the gear out on the counter and let him actually pack his little lunch, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah. And it's another, like, I just think for myself now, I'm so glad that I did it all those years ago.
Yeah.
Because I haven't made a lunch in years. Now, very occasionally I might, like, if somebody's running late or whatever, I will occasionally make it, but generally I won't. So I'm so glad, this me now is glad that I did that years ago. And that's what the parents to have as well, is those extra few minutes to do one of the other 75 million jobs they have to do.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. But great idea to do that. I think that's going to be my plan now. See how we go the next couple of mornings.
Yes, keep me posted, Aoife. Let me know on. Right, I'm going to wind it up unless anybody has questions for Aoife. You will find her over on @parent support. So I'll put your tag in the comments, not in the comments, in the caption.
Yeah.
For anybody who wants to follow Aoife, she's a font of all kinds of parenting knowledge and talks very reasonably about parenting, I think, and obviously has lots of experience from her own kids. And you can find her all the time, as I said, on Dermot and Dave. And so
thanks so much, Deirdre. You've inspired me on a couple of different things and provided a few tips there.
Yes, yeah. Well, likewise, I'll be looking up the Insight Timer app for myself, never mind the kids.
Yeah, it is lovely. It's actually lovely. I kind of look forward to now to going to bed thinking, right, what am I going to listen to tonight? So it's a nice one.
Is it just my time, is it? Or is it?
Oh, no, anytime. But I just find it's, if I've had a stressful day or something's on my mind, it just kind of creates a little bit of a restart button, and I'm just ready to go sleep then when I'm done with it. So
yeah.
yeah. So there
Okay,
you go.
I get to see you in person, IRL, in real life sometime soon.
Sometime soon. I've met so many people on Instagram the last few years, and actually, when I did another slot there on Ireland DM, and I love the lovely Sinead from Peachy,
Okay.
and I met Sinead for the first time, but I felt like I'd known her, and I met her because obviously just on here, and
Yeah.
oh my God, this is actually the first time we've met one another, so it was lovely. So someday, Deirdre, we shall.
Well, we will. Yeah, sooner rather than later, hopefully.
Yeah. Listen, thanks for everyone for tuning in. I know people have been popping on and off. There's been a good few on and off over the course of the last course of an hour. So
Yeah.
thanks for on. And yeah, we'll see you soon,
Yeah.
hopefully.
Brilliant. Thanks, Aoife.
Thanks. Thanks. Take it easy.
Yeah.
Bye.
Be saved, everybody. I'll save this as a post so you can look back if you missed anything.
Lovely. Thanks,
Bye,
Michelle.
Aoife. Thanks a million.
Bye.
You're a star. Bye.
Bye.